Hello and welcome to the first episode of the Hot Lap. It's where myself, along with a few other drivers in the INRS series, are going to talk about all things involving the league, previous races, upcoming races, and everything in between. I'm Clark Franz, driver of the number 15 Chevrolet Camaro.
I'm Tony Jafts, number of the 42 Chevrolet Camaro.
I'm Vernon Brabeck, number of the. I that up. Oh, shoot. Driver of the number 10.
Restart from your introduction.
Yeah.
Restart.
All right. I'm Vernon Brabeck, driver of the number 10 Chevrolet Camaro.
Redo that intro there.
Can we just redo it all?
Yeah, sure. That'll actually be
Give another
Take two. Here we go.
All right, let's go.
We're probably going to leave this in there because it's kind of hilarious. But
I'm driver of the number, or I'm number of the driver. Oh wait,
That's not. I did it. I did it Monday night or last night in my league race. I was like, he just took the nose off my air, and I was like, oh, fuck, I said that backwards.
jeez.
You ready?
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, I'm good.
Hello and welcome to the first episode of the Hot Lap. It's a podcast where we're going to talk about everything involving the INRS Cup Series. It's going to be talking about the previous races, the races upcoming, as well as any type of playoff battles and anything going on in the league. I'm Clark Franz, driver of the number 15 Chevrolet Camaro.
I'm Tony Jafts, number of the 40-year.
That's great.
I'm Tony Jafts, driver of the number 42 Chevrolet Camaro.
I'm Vernon Brabeck, driver of the number 10 Chevrolet Camaro.
And I'm Corey Bunch, driver of the number 77 Ford Mustang Full Throttle Motorsports.
Man, we had a thing going with Chevy, but I get it there, Corey. That Mustang's been fast this year, and we're glad to have you here. So
Thank you.
Before we dive into the topics, since the first episode, we're just going to talk about kind of what the show is, what the goals are, and you guys can all feel free to give your 2 cents here too. But basically, we're going to try to break down what's going on within the race, especially since all four of us are driving in it. We got Corey up front, Vernon and Tony a little closer to the front, and then me in the rear, so I can see most events happening in my front windshield. On top of that, playoff picture, things like that, and it's a good way to kind of break down what's going on in the league and kind of get some good perspectives. So, first thing I'd like to talk about last week's race. Corey, coast to coast, absolutely dominated New Hampshire. What was it like from your perspective?
Well, it was part of the game plan was really, which I hate to say it that way, but just quaff up front and ride the cautions. That was kind of how it was for Iowa, and then last week here at New Hampshire. But hey, we'll take them as they go.
Yeah, you absolutely, dominated the field. Now, did you ended up picking the outside and the inside at one point during the race, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Was it causing much of an issue, one versus the other?
Well, you could tell that the outside lane was more dominant, but it got to the point where late in the race where I'd choose the inside lane to try to mess up Booth a little bit. And then there was another instance too where Eric Jeffers, my teammate, he was on the outside, and I think it was like the one where it's like 10 to go or something like that. So we got to restart to where I could help him, hopefully be able to get him in the top three and just try to help out a teammate. But for the most part, the outside lane was pretty dominant because I tried both. Just figured, why not?
Yeah, it seemed like a predominantly track position type race, but even with that, the top 4 or 5 absolutely moved through the field. I mean, you passed me like I was standing still once you pitted for tires.
Yeah,
Vernon, you were one of those up front too.
Yeah, I spent most of my time probably right around 5th or 4th place, but watching that 77 just drive away from me was a little frustrating all night. But I wasn't that great at New Hampshire like I thought I was going to be.
Tony, what were your thoughts on the race?
I wish I could run not great and run top 5 all day. It was a good race. There was a lot of track position. tires didn't really seem to mean a whole lot. I think I made my last pit stop just outside of a fuel run, and we had enough caution laps to save enough and make it. And I ended up finishing top 10, but probably should have ran if it had gone green. Probably should have ran about 13th.
I hate saying this, but tires ain't gonna mean much when we're running under pace laps all race, and I don't like saying that because I don't want us to run under pace laps all race, but that's kind of what it was.
Yeah, I like to see that the league though is making changes to try to better that. How many changes does it take to stick or to make it work? I don't know, but the fact that they're trying means that they actually are listening to us in the chat, and that means something to me.
I mean,
Go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna say is like the whole league. It's got a potential to be great racing, and there have been flashes of it. It's just if we could just go longer than 10 laps without someone self-spinning or dooring somebody, the product would be really fantastic for all the people who either watch our streams or even like on the broadcast, the IWM broadcast network. They'll watch the racing there. So it'd be nice to just put a great product out there.
I agree. I think with the intermediate tracks we have coming up, it's gonna get good.
I agree. I think a lot of it though is we just need to get strung out, single file. Everybody kind of get into their own little groove, own little spot, and
we need to
ride
put
around.
Corey Bunch at the back of the field.
I second that. I think Jordan Booth could also be put back there too.
I really think Nashville has a chance to be a great race. If you string out like you're talking about, it's not a track where you're going to break loose real quick. Like in Phoenix, for example, if you put too much throttle down in 1 and 2, I mean you're snapping around. But Nashville, you have the chance to really get some good green flag runs. It's just a matter of the league from first place all the way back to the back marker realizing that you're not going to win it on the first lap, the 20th lap, or the 50th lap. You're not going to win it to the last lap, and I think that's it's going to take some time to get there. But we have some serious talent in the league.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think maybe part of the problem is too is like where you mentioned about the talent level. Like I'll just say this: from last year to this year, the competition's a lot stiffer, and part of it is just where everyone's on top of one another with this car, and I think pretty much everyone is kind of equal on who excels with the car and who don't. Because like say like with me, I'll probably excel on the short tracks, and then you'll have probably Wenzel, excel on like the mile and a halves and stuff. I mean, it's just, but you have like people that's just right there close together, from front to the back.
I think Wenzel excels on the road courses more than anything because he's two dominant races, Coda and Sonoma. He's just flat out drove away from everybody.
When you're looking at the big picture, he excels at just about any track. I mean,
absolutely.
Let's be honest. It's like any sport. You're gonna have the few that really rise to the top. You got Booth. You got Wenzel, Corey. I mean, you got Brendan Hayes. Man, he's like Sheldon Creed. He's always finishing second, but the dude is always there. You got Travis Bennett, and they're gonna have speed no matter where we go. But you've got speed throughout the whole field. That's the thing too. Is there are certain people that have that niche of certain tracks, what have it, and that's what makes it exciting for me.
Yeah, for sure.
So as you're looking at the playoff picture, Tony, you're just on the outside looking in, 27 back. What are your kind of goals here as we're working towards the end of the season?
Yeah, we need to start getting some stage points. This is a position. Excuse me. It's a position that's honestly familiar because I was in the same spot a little further out at this point in the season last year. So I think that I can point my way in. It's going to be tough though because I ran top 10 last week and lost points to the cut line. So
I think you were chasing me last year because I think I made it in on the final transfer spot.
Yes, yeah, I was chasing you and Josh.
Yep, I beat Josh by a point, I believe.
And I beat you, and then I missed Bristol, And I'll miss Bristol again this year.
That's rough.
There's quite a few decent drivers. I shouldn't even say decent. I should say really good drivers that are on the outside looking in right now. You got yourself Tony. Vince is. He's not the flashiest driver. He's a teammate of mine. He's not the flashiest driver. He's not like a Jordan Booth gonna go out there and be fighting for the win every week and be willing to put the door into you. He's a very clean driver, but he's just consistent. I mean, he puts up good numbers every week. I'm gonna be honest with you. If I don't win at Daytona, I'm not gonna get in. But you got Ty Bostic, you got all these guys. I mean, they've all got good shots to get in. It's going to get pretty tight as we get down to the wire.
I know we got a couple of drivers, at least one who is pushing their limits, who's locked into the playoffs on missing races. That could also open the door for another potential spot that would actually jump Tony into a playoff spot.
Yeah, for anybody listening, we can. If there's $50 if you just go cut his Ethernet cable to the point where he's out for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
there
Nick,
it is.
Nick Alves, I will fund you a vacation to Florida if you could just go there for 2 weeks. That'd be great. It wouldn't really affect me much, though, to be honest. I mean, I did much better 2 years ago. Last year, I took some time off for some personal reasons, but I've been plagued by just stupid mistakes. Some of them not my fault. Probably most of them my fault. But man, the incident points has gotten me. So it is what it is, and I kind of got you, Tony, with some incident points this week.
Yeah, I think the caution did come out, and I slowed down a little quicker than you did. But you'll have that. I mean, the stuff like that, it doesn't cause a whole lot of damage. So it was really just the 4X. But there have been some times this season where I got junked on a caution at Darlington in the Xfinity race. But that's just about how our luck's gone this year.
Yeah. So this season so far, Vernon, who would you say your surprises are, whether it's good or bad? What are you thinking about the league?
I mean, it's littered with competition, like great competition all over the place. We have 10 guys who have wins. We have guys who should have wins who don't. Eric Jeffers is one of them. He's a fantastic driver. He's been plagued with unlucky timing with placement of his cars when other cars wreck. I mean, Alex Murphy, he won a couple of times. I think last year he's always fast. I know I'm not the fastest, but there's tracks that I feel I have a great chance to win. So I'm just missing out on potential wins here and there. But I think the competition is fantastic.
Tony, anybody saying that to you?
We got a couple new guys compared to last season. Booth is really a standout this year. I did not expect that he was going to come in and just dominate like he has. The other one that was really a shock was Tyler Lim. I think Tyler Lim won Martinsville this year. So he's going to be in the playoffs. And
did you have to bring that up while I'm on the podcast? Because my chances to get in the playoffs, to be honest, with this field, I love racing. I love being kind of just that, race people clean as much as I can. But I'm not going to win the league unless something crazy goes on. But I look forward every year, Martinsville plate races, and I'm sitting second place, Martinsville. All I had to do was just turn down the moral knob for just about 5 seconds and give him the bumper, and I didn't have it in me, and I've been regretting it ever since. But yeah, he had a good win there. It was a good one, and to your point with Jordan Booth, phenomenal this year. As much as it may hurt us to say, just kidding, Jordan, we love you, or do we? But no, the purple people eaters they've been great. I mean, it's just it's unreal.
Padres.
Yeah, it's unreal the talent that the two of them have. I mean, and then we're all on teams. We have good communication, but I think what really stands out is at plate races they are always linked up. and that goes a long way for them. You can tell that they're really trying to complement each other.
Oh yeah, and you talk about plate races. Daytona's going to be a wild card because there's a lot of people that need a win to get into the chase, and that's going to be a big one. Personally, my strategy is going to be stick to Jordan Boost bumper and hope he leads me to victory.
I'm hoping 2022 kind of shines out again, and me, Vernon, and Vince can stick together because we had a good 3-man pack going. When Vernon doesn't spin it on pit exit, we can do pretty well.
Done that a few times.
At Daytona. Yeah, and it's a make or break race for, realistically, the entire field that's not in the playoffs. So it's going to be absolutely crazy. I think that some of the rule changes, like we talked about, are going to help with cautions, but I'm going to expect quite a bit of cautions coming up to that checkered flag there at the end of Daytona.
Yeah, and the big thing is last year you could bank on your quick fix. Oh, if I get an accident, I've got that fast repair. This year you don't have that fast repair. So it's going to be entertaining to see how it might promote some people that are, that need a win to ride in the back for the first stage.
Yeah, I'm curious how that's gonna go at Daytona. At other tracks where you can kind of spread out more and run your line, I think that the no fast repair is going to help. But at Daytona, we all know that there's no real lifting because you're going to lose the pack. So I don't know if it's really going to throttle down the energy that much at Daytona, but we'll see here. Now, when it comes to season surprises, a great racer, but really stood out to me this year so far is Michael Whitley as well. He won a race last year, great racer, but man, he's really stepped it up in my opinion. I feel like he's always right at the top of the field, and that's one that sticks out to me too.
He's more consistent this year than he was last year, because I know like I'll watch races from last year where he's kind of like mid to the back of the pack, and then once it got, and he'd have some flashes of finishes, but once he got to like the playoffs, he was just getting better and getting better and getting better and just putting himself in great positions, and he's kind of really, not really went downhill this year. It just seems like when you look at his stats compared to last year, he's improved a lot. And daggone it, I'm proud of him.
Yeah, he's doing a great job, and I'm sure he's going to keep it up as we get towards the end of the season here. Excuse me, the end of the regular season. Now, Corey, I got a question for you. As we move on to this next race, you're coming off a win. I mean, you've shown already this year. You've shown it previously. You know how to keep your car up front. You know how to get in victory lane. As we move to Nashville, what are your kind of your goals? Whether it's tire wear wise, running in the field. What are you looking to do?
Well, hopefully I'll do better in tire wear, because last year Brogdon actually destroyed me when it came to the long run, and I've ever since been trying to figure that out. So maybe this go around will probably be a little better. We'll see, but just if you don't think that tires will matter, that right front tire is going to matter a little bit, just from this whole new tire model and all that stuff as well. So would it be Nashville? Because I think I probably ran second, third the whole race last year, but nobody had anything for Brogdon. We could never figure out why. Just hit, which then again, that was the man who was just excellent on saving his stuff. So that's going to be kind of the key. Just try to see if we can be up front and save our stuff, and probably have another top 5 finish. We'll see.
Vernon, you gonna save that right front?
Yeah, I doubt it. I did some practice already at Nashville, and I am horrible at saving tires. That is like my least favorite thing to do. I'm 100% going to be hitting up Brogdon though on how to run this track to make sure that I'm hopefully somewhat prepared for Thursday night, because the practice laps I was 5/10 slower than my fastest lap there ever. I felt like I was slower than dirt, and the right front was being lit on fire as I was running 5 laps of practice.
See, I was about to ask too. I was like, whoever was Brogdon's teammates last year, they should have the edge.
That'd be
for
us.
This, yeah, okay. You
Yeah.
should have the edge coming
He
into Nashville.
Him and
He-
Brandon Fetterplace have given us great pointers. Charlotte was a huge one. This year, whenever we asked, those two just they'll tell you their secrets. They don't care, and I'm saying like, thank you, thank you.
He definitely owes me a few secrets because the only race he's run this year is the only race I missed.
he's like a sleeping dragon when it comes to tire wear. I'm telling you, I have passed him on track before, and clearly 2-time champ, amazing driver. And I've passed him on track, and I'm like, what is Brogdon doing? And then sure enough, like 25 laps later, he's just cruising along at, I mean, Mach 5, and I'm just trying to hold on for dear life with my tires. He is just a wizard with tire wear. And as much as I miss having him in the league, I am excited as we move into the playoffs. Is we're gonna have a new champion. Whoever wins,
repeat.
yeah, that'd be great to see. But at the end of the day, now that's a far gone conclusion because he's not here. But as we look towards Phoenix, it has to be a new winner. And I don't know if you have any predictions. I do myself, but I don't know. We'll see, I guess.
My prediction: I'm going to win in Martinsville in the round of 8 to make championship 4, and then I'm going to get wrecked out at Phoenix. So that's my prediction for me. I don't know who's going to win
That's what happened to Wenzel last year.
it.
My prediction is Travis Bennett if he learns not to speed on pit road.
That's
Man,
a fair one.
He is well. He does a real good job at Phoenix. If I remember right, he was a little squirrely out of 4, but you're gonna get that when you're carrying speed like the guys like Bennett, Wenzel, Booth are. I mean, they're driving on a knife's edge every lap, and I think if things go the way you would assume in the playoffs, you're gonna have Bennett, Booth, Wenzel.
Sure.
And it's gonna be that's gonna be a fun race to watch, honestly.
Just a side note, I'm looking at the fastest laps for Nashville from last year, and there wasn't that big of a difference. Brogdon ran a 29.8 for his fastest lap, and our slowest was only a 30.2 by Mitchell Roberts. So there really wasn't a whole lot of difference in lap times last season.
Now I'm curious as to what lap time I ran.
I'm thinking the biggest difference is going to come from your sustained averages, from who's burning them up.
You ran a 29.88 to Brogdon's 29.82.
Okay, so I wasn't too far off him. This year, I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
Tony, what's your goal coming up here into Nashville? I mean, you've got your foot almost in the door with the playoffs. It's a tough field for a win. Are you looking to flip the stages to try to put yourself in the front, or are you looking to get stage points and try to just ride out with points?
Well, I think it's going to be a hard race to pass, so we're definitely going to try to qualify up front, and I'm really hoping that we can qualify in the top 10, stay in the top 10, get some stage points, and if we can't get some stage points and we get a late caution, we'll probably flip the stage and try to race it from there. But I gotta find something to gain some ground on Jacob Mossow, and realistically, Eric Jeffers is one bad race away from that cut line too. So
Yeah, very good point. And the second to last topic I'd like to cover tonight is if we could try to predict who we think is going to win here this week. Go ahead and start with you, Vernon.
Predict? Nashville. Now, I'm going to go out here on a limb. I don't want to say this because it hurts my potential chances at playoff spots, but it's going to be a new winner. and it's going to come from somebody who is not currently in the playoffs.
Who's that?
I have no idea, but that's my prediction.
Oh, a new winner.
It's going to be a new winner, and it's going to come from someone not currently in the playoffs. So it's going to bump somebody out and move everybody down one spot closer to chaos. That's kind of what I'm looking at right now.
What are you thinking, Corey?
God, let's see. It's hard to bet against the Jordan and Jordan show. And if I were to give an edge on anyone between them two, and it comes to a track like Nashville, I'll give it to the man who finished second last year. I'll give it to Wenzel. I think he'll do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a steady prediction just about any track, especially road courses. But Nashville still, he's going to be up there. Whether it's in first, he's going to be up there somewhere up near the front.
Yeah,
what about you, Tony?
He's
go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that he's had a little bit of a slumper, a little bit. We're getting caught up in wrecks and all that stuff for the past 2 weeks or so. But I think he'll turn around. I don't think he'll turn around. Come here at Nashville.
I think I'm gonna go off on a limb here. I'm gonna go with the driver that finished fourth last year. He's gonna nail the pit strategy right for once this week, and Michael Whitley's gonna win the race.
I think it's interesting. We all have a different opinion on who's going to win, but I like that. I like that there is parity in the league. We have the front runners, but there are different people that can win every week. And for me, who I think is going to have a fire lit underneath them, especially because of some internet troubles last week, is the 0-1 car, Travis Bennett. He's got the skill to win at just about any track, and I do not think that he likes seeing the 4 wins in the column for Booth and the 3, for you, Corey, and for Jordan. I think that he's going to come out probably ready to really be pushing for a win. And I think that can either really help him or hurt him. He's got just as much speed as anybody, but sometimes I think he can push it a little too far, and I'm thinking this week he's going to put it just to the right amount and get the win.
I think it's worth pointing out that he didn't run this race last year either. I think this is one of the 2 races he missed last season because he's not on the results page.
He did finish second though in the truck, so.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna have to start tuning into the truck races, even the Xfinity. That way I can get a little more of a in-depth glimpse of what's going to happen for the week.
Yeah, him and Eric, they had a duel right down to the finish in this truck race there. It was pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw you off of our notes for the sheet for just 1 second. It was asked by a few people in the chat. If you don't have one, you don't have to force one, but does anybody have an idiot of the week? I have one, but I want to see if anybody else has an answer.
I've got a few.
Let me hear.
I'll let you go, Corey.
Okay, well, it's not. I'm not going to point it at one particular person, but it's just kind of it'd be multiple, but it's going to be for the same reason. And it seems like it happens every week. These last lap wrecks. Like, what are we doing? Like, you had an incident with Travis trying to just block Whitley on the last lap, cause a huge wreck in Iowa, and then you had New Hampshire with I think Scott Thomas got loose and hooked the Wenzel, and then everyone else just kind of piled in. And I'm like, I watched that through that broadcast, and I'm like, what are we doing? And it just don't look pretty. And that's been there's been more than 2 races that's happened. And I thought at one point we had to sit down and talk like, hey, quit trying to wreck on the last lap. So if there was anything I had to give it for, it's for that particular reason. And I wish we would just at least finish it out and not everybody kill each other.
I think a lot of the reasons those wrecks keep piling up is, well, the Iowa one came at the start finish line, and there's no caution, so you got to go to get that spot. Otherwise, I mean, you slow down, you lose 5, 6, 7 spots because you're slowing down to avoid a wreck. Like I get what you're saying, and I agree. They shouldn't happen, but when that wreck happens, and I slow down, and 7 other people don't, and they make it through, I've now lost 7 potential spots.
Yeah, but there's also that possibility they'll run you over, and you'll end up keeping your spot too. So that's kind of like where I've seen a lot too. Is like if there's a wreck in front of them, there's people that fans out, and then they try to stop or whatever, and then they get ran over, and it just piles up from there. But
It's
I
a
mean,
mess.
yeah.
Tony, before you call me out for what an idiot, I just want you to remember that I apologized. I apologized.
So that was going to be honorable mention.
Ooh.
No, I'm kind of torn. My what an idiot is going to go to one that just happened tonight, and it's going to have to go to the gentleman that made his debut in the trucks tonight. Shane, he dove into the corner a little too hard and just completely wiped us out tonight. But he did apologize. But it's all, and we managed to come back and recover pretty good. My other what an idiot would have to be go to Eric Jeffers for not upgrading or buying a new computer, because he's got
on that thing.
I say he's got more I think at this point he's got the everything but the track turned off on his computer.
I mean, I told him we'd make a GoFundMe for him, just at least get a $1,000 computer, something that runs decently enough to where he can at least put his pit box up there so he could be able to see that. So
If we get enough listeners to this, we could run an ad halfway through, and that could help raise some funds,
Right?
yeah, there we go.
So my what an idiot. Well, before I go to my what an idiot, my runner-up is also me, Tony. So shocker. The last 2 weeks I have had 12 X's under caution. 4 of them were my fault. I hit you, Tony. You slowed down quicker than I thought you would for a caution, but at the end of the day, I'm the car behind. That's my fault, and I was mad about it. But you called me out on it, rightfully so. And I like that we can still laugh and have fun about it. But the other 8, I wasn't at fault, but accidents once again still happen. But my what an idiot is for the way I handled it, especially with Tyler Len. We raced clean at Martinsville, like we talked about earlier. I didn't give him the chrome horn, and I was, giving my frustration with him when I should probably give the more, I guess, friendly outlook to it. But my actual what an idiot is Jordan Booth. Now, hear me out. The reason for Jordan Booth is because he thought he would be everybody's what an idiot, and we would talk about him, trash talk about him, what have it. And the only reason it's what an idiot is because all 4 of us here have a pretty objective, level-minded opinion on things. Is we're not going to be on this podcast trash talking people. That's not the point of this. The point of this is to really talk about what's going on in the league. I hate losing to Booth every week, but he's a damn good driver. It is what it is. Do I get annoyed when I see him key up in race chat? Sometimes I do, but that's because I'm pissed that he's beating me. But we have a good crew here. I think we have the makings for a really good show, and I think it's gonna be a really great time.
I'm kind of surprised that you're what an idiot. It's not that incident point system from Iowa.
Oh.
I had to say it. I'm sorry. I had to say it.
Bring up bad memories right there.
That being said, I like to pick on Booth. I've noticed some cracks in the armor. He qualified behind me tonight in the truck race, and if it wasn't for pit strategy, he would have finished behind me. And so, some cracks in the armor there.
What it has going for him too, rivalry wise, is he's like the young gun. What is he, 19? I believe. I mean, he's
so
like the
like-
young gun. He comes in and he's just lights out fast, and he can push people's buttons on the radio. Mine, Vernon's, probably both yours.
Mine.
Sometimes, you know.
Definitely.
But I think that that's also what this league needs, is because it gives the announcers in the booth on Thursday nights stuff to talk about. It gives us stuff to talk about, and it generates that traction that we need. I mean, really, we got a great thing going here, and it's only going to go up from here. And he's part of that.
Absolutely.
At least
As
I could say that. At least I could say that I've beat him. 3 races. That's where I get my 3 wins from. So.
I beat him in no races.
I think
Along
I've got
with-
him in at least one.
I've got him in a couple.
Oh, and I mean, if we're talking about beating him position wise, I might have maybe squeaked out one. And I was talking about in general, I have not won a race this year. But as we close out here, I think product wise here for the podcast, we got some room to grow, some room to work with. But all in all, I think we really outdid ourselves in terms of having stuff to talk about, things to, really discuss and dive into. I think Corey, you got a great perspective on things, especially up front in the races. You've been phenomenal this year. Vernon and Tony, you guys got just great outlooks on the league, and it's gonna really grow, I think.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
Absolutely. And something that's guaranteed is at some point in a race, Vernon and I are going to find each other.
May it be good or bad, we will be bumper to bumper.
Oh, Lord.
Best of luck to everybody at Nashville. We'll continue this next week as we move further. And I appreciate you for tuning in this far. And take care.